Hey guys, Courtney Epps here, and I am so super excited. I'm in Washington, D.C., of all places, super crazy. And I have here with me someone from Nigeria, and his name is Dr. David Ajibade. Hello, Dr.
Yes.
David.
Hi. Good to see you in the flesh, Courtney. Finally.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm going to just share a little background. I got a phone call on Friday from Dr. David as well as Sam Castor, the founder of Main Relief. And for those of you know that I have been providing through our accounting firm, we feed about 9,000 children every single day. But we don't feed them. What we're doing is providing nourishment for them so that their bodies can fight against sickness and disease. So we're boosting their immune system. And so I got this call from Dr. David on Friday and Sam, and he was here in the States. And he's actually, I'm going to let him share exactly what he's been doing in the world for the last, I don't even know how many years.
Over 10 years. About
Wow.
10 years now, yeah.
So go ahead and tell him.
Okay. Well, thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome.
Hey, everyone. So I'm the founder of the Brain and Body Foundation. And for the past over 8 years, really, we've been back in Nigeria working with medically fragile children. Now, what is that? Children with brain disorders, children with genetic disorders, and about 4 or 5 years back, children with sickle cell disease. And so every Friday, every week, we have kids from all over Abuja, which is like the DC of Nigeria. The parents bring in their kids with these conditions, and we give them free consultations and free nutraceuticals, which are like nutrients, supplements on steroids. And because of our partnership with organizations like Man Relief and others, we were able to get these at a really discounted or even free of charge. And basically, we give this out to them free of charge, and we've seen tremendous results from everything from cerebral palsy, autism, seizure disorders, and then, of course, sickle cell disease. We've seen some great results. So we felt that where sickle cell disease is concerned, Nigeria is number one by far in the world. We have the most number of kids and adults with sickle cell disease. It's a really bad situation. The statistics say that between 50 and 70% of kids born will die before their 5th birthday. And if that's not bad enough, 10% of all people with sickle cell disease will have strokes, and usually before they become teenagers. So think about it. A child has become totally invalid by the time he or she is 10 due to strokes. And we've had kids like that who have had multiple strokes before they were 10. And up until this point, yes, we've had some drugs for sickle cell disease. Yes, we've had doctors who can treat them. But for the most part, it's been a disease that we haven't really gotten a handle of. And so we just said, well, we started looking into the literature, and we saw that, well, one of the things we could do was to strengthen the immune system.
Yes.
Something as simple as that. We never thought it was going to work this well, but we just thought, well, let's just start with strengthening the immune system and see how far that goes. And when we started that, we saw that these kids, drastic change, night and day. Not only were they not having the crises anymore, and by crisis I mean they would have pain crisis, they would have fainting spells, and their bodies would just break down over a period of time. But they no longer had that. They were full of energy. They didn't have to stay away from school. They didn't have sick days anymore. They were living pretty much like other normal kids. And that was shocking because it's unheard of. Kids with sickle cell disease are meant to be cooped up in the house somewhere. They can't go out and play with their friends. They can't do what their colleagues and their peers are doing because, well, they're going to have a crisis. But parents found out they didn't have to protect their kids anymore simply because their immune systems were strengthened. So I said all that to say that we want to start, and we've been given approval by the federal government of Nigeria to do research with sickle cell disease using nutraceuticals and nutritional supplements to boost the immune system. And so with that approval, we felt we needed to, partner with organizations who could help us get the nutrients and also pay for the research, so that once we get the results of the research, which I believe is what we've been seeing for the past 3 years, once we get those results out, oh goodness, we'll be able to share it with the rest of the world, right?
Yes, and we can end the suffering of a disease that right now, medically it's not possible to end that suffering. It's able to slow down maybe.
Right.
Like there's some drugs to maybe slow it down, and there's some drugs to, obviously you could take pain medication and you could, but
Reduce
who wants to be on
symptoms.
pain medication
Right.
for the rest of their life?
Right.
And so, doing my own research, and I'll just tell you, that I think this is a disease that happens mostly in African Americans. Is that correct?
Right. Some Hispanics, some Indians, East Indians, but mostly among Black people.
And so, for me, I don't really know anyone that has sickle cell. And you may be listening to this and say, you know what? I don't know anyone who has sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia. But here's what I want you to understand. If we can show and prove that we can enhance someone's quality of life by boosting their immune system, then what else can we do? What other quality of life can we have for diseases and sicknesses and viruses and fungal infections, for that matter? What can we do in that situation? Because I truly believe that, and Dr. David, you're the doctor, which I just got a doctorate. I don't know if you know that.
Oh,
I got an
awesome.
Honorary doctorate.
That's a doctorate.
So,
anyway.
but I would not treat patients. So definitely not treating patients.
Congratulations, by the way.
Exactly.
Good
Thank
job.
you. But you're the doctor in this, but when you can boost a child's immune system, is it true that they can really start fighting against diseases and sicknesses and illnesses?
Well, absolutely. And the immune system is your defender. I mean, it does more than just fight against diseases. I mean, it strengthens your immune system. It's like your Voltron, the Voltron of the body, checking out all the cells and tissues of the body. So once your immune system is strong, it'll be more quick or more apt to detect things like cancer, to be more quick to detect things like heart disease. And yes, it will be more quick to detect viruses and bacteria and fungi that are trying to invade the body. And it will be more apt to handle them more effectively. So one of the problems we have is that sometimes the immune system detects the problem, but it goes haywire.
Yes.
It begins to attack not just the virus, but it attacks the cells and the tissues, which it's not supposed to do.
Right.
Now, if you strengthen the immune system, if you enable the immune system like you're supposed to, you find out that the immune system doesn't do that. It appropriately destroys the invading organisms like the viruses and the bacteria, while sparing and protecting the good cells and tissues of the body. And a strong immune system will do that. So the reason why we're having all these problems is because the immune system hasn't been strengthened the way it should. Yeah.
And so, and what do drugs, and here's the thing, guys, here's what I want you to understand. You may say, well, in our country, in the United States, that we can treat sickle cell anemia, we can treat sickle cell disease. The problem is in other countries, they don't have access to drugs. They don't have access to proper care. They don't have access to get to hospitals quickly. And so one of the things that from me reading and understanding, one of the things that can happen with a child is that they can go into a crisis and they can actually start bleeding to death.
Right.
And so they don't have access to get to a hospital in order to get the treatment that they need. So you may say, well, what does this have to do with me? I'm in the United States. What it has to do with you is you probably know someone who has sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease. You probably know someone who has autoimmune disorders or diseases and illnesses or even viruses today. We're, obviously rampant and talking about the coronavirus. But these diseases, when our body can fight against it, and our body was created, God created our body so that it could fight against sickness and disease. And I know, guys, I want you to understand, and you may not believe in God today, but in the Bible, it talks about the fact that God has given us everything in nature that we need in order to heal our bodies. And in order for us to do that, we need to go out and find it. It may not be just sitting there. And so this study, how many children so far has been through your foundation? And you've got to tell them, you didn't start this whole foundation to go after sickle cell disease. What was the whole purpose of the foundation?
Well, the foundation was mainly for children with brain disorders, like I said, cerebral palsy, autism, seizure disorders, and all that, because that's my area. But we started having kids who would come to our foundation who had strokes, like I said, multiple strokes before the age of 10. I mean, they were coming in wheelchairs, and it was because of sickle cell disease. And that was the first time in probably 25 years, I was actually thinking or looking at sickle cell disease. I mean, when we did sickle cell disease as medical students, I mean, we did the studies and all that. I was like, no, I'm not going to treat. I am not going to treat sickle cell. This is too depressing. This is not for me. And so, like I said, 25 years later, I'm looking at these cases and I'm like, what in the world? How can we still be having cases like this after 25 years? And so, of course, I had to go into it and really look into it and see what we could do to help these kids. And when we found out that one of the things we could do was strengthening the immune system, it was a no-brainer. We had to start. I mean, it became my responsibility. I mean, it's not like we weren't making any money out of it. We just like, this cannot go on. It's wrong.
That's true.
It cannot go on. We can't be having people just dying and having their bodies breaking apart every single day and let that happen, especially because I know what to do now. So that's why we're doing it.
So, and if I understand the numbers correctly, there's 150,000 children roughly born a year.
Yes.
With sickle cell disease.
Yes.
And 60% of those will die by the age of 5.
Correct.
So that means 90,000 children
right.
that are being born every single year are going to die.
That's where we can count, but there are lots of them in villages and remote areas where we don't get to count. So it's really a rough estimate, very conservative, I think.
And guys, that's the thing. Like, there's so many things going on in the world, and I understand that. And you may be sitting here, well, how can I do something? So one of the things that I got a phone call on Friday because OTB Tax, our company, and you may think, well, why in the world is Courtney talking about sickle cell disease? She's an accountant. Yes, I am. But my purpose in life, I know exactly what that is. And that is to teach more, how to have more so that they can live more, they can then give more, and then I can nourish more children and provide and free more children. And so nourishing means providing safe drinking water, providing nutrition for these children so that their bodies can heal. And so that's what I was put on this earth to do. And that's what I do every single day. That's why I work so hard to make more money so that we can grow our business and we can feed more, we can free more, and we can provide more safe drinking water. So with this issue, with this sickle cell disease, that we have the ability to do something about it. And one of the things, I have an event coming up, and I didn't kind of expect to do this. I made a decision on Saturday that I was going to do it, but we need $198,000 to pay for the doctors, the nurses, and all the lab testing and everything that has to go into play. Now, OTB Tax is funding all of the nutrition that is going to go into these children to help get this study and to make sure that we can end the suffering of this disease. But what we need now is we need to focus on trying to get the $198,000 so that we can have all the results, so that we can then use those results to carry over to the entire country of Nigeria and then every other country in the entire world. And I'm super excited about that. So I've got an event coming up, September 26th. That event is $197. And I'm going to post the link. There's a lot of really amazing people going to be there. Ray Higdon, of all people, he is an amazing coach for the network marketing industry. Alex Morton, he is a multi-million-dollar income earner a month in the network marketing industry. Nicola Smith-Jackson, she is a firehouse. She is a firecracker, and one of my very dear friends. And she actually, crazily enough, she got knighted as a dame, and she's not even in the Catholic Church. Is that not crazy? So she is amazing. She is one of my very dear friends. And then we have all three of the nonprofits that we work with, The Last Well, Manna Relief, Operation Underground Railroad is going to be there. Manny Lopez. Manny is focused on helping orphans learn how to become business owners. So he impacts over 14,000 orphans all over the world right now and gives access to them. Gosh, who else is speaking? We've got Sherry Tree. Oh my goodness. One of my dear friends, Sherry Tree, with Bank, and she's going to be teaching you how to understand people so that you can better sell to those people. So we're just going to have an amazing Saturday, and we're going to have the ability after Saturday to be able to network with people on a daily basis. And we're going to have events going on throughout the month that you'll be able to be a part of. And guess what else? We're adding to it. we are going to do a free tax strategy session for every person that buys the ticket. So not only are you going to get the event with all of the speakers, you'll get access to all of the replays. You'll get access to a tax strategy session that we typically charge $99 for. So that's included, and 100%, not 100% of the profit, 100% of the proceeds, every dollar that comes in is going to fund this Nigeria project, this clinical trial, that so we can help end the suffering. And guys, it's more along the lines, it's not just sickle cell, it's everything else. And one of the things, and Dr. David doesn't know me very well. We just met and we've talked a lot this week on the phone and talked about how we're going to change the world together. But I've had and have been told literally 13 years ago, I was supposed to have brain surgery. And the doctors told me that they were going to put a stent in my brain to bypass the migraines that I had every single day. And I took 6 to 8 Excedrin every day of my life for 8.5 years. They were going to put this stent in my brain. Fortunately, I ended up leaving the hospital that day. There was something really, really bad happened that day, and I didn't go back. And I've had mono twice. I've had massive mercury poisoning. I've had mold poisoning to the point where I lost my memory for 6.5 months. And I got diagnosed with having fibromyalgia 8 years ago. And I couldn't walk more than 12 feet for 6 months of my life. I was in excruciating pain. If you touched me, I would freak out and I would bust out crying. And that's the way I lived my life for 6 months. So I had a lot of medical issues. And I say that to say this. Every single doctor that I went to, they continued to try to give me medication after medication after medication. And all it did was continue to give me more and more side effects till I finally gave up. And I started going to chiropractic, and I started getting acupuncture, and I started getting massages, and I started taking care of my body. And I started putting whole food, plant-based nutrition in, and I stopped putting crap into my body, because we have to take care of our body, right? It's
Absolutely.
the only one we have.
Yeah.
And so I'm living proof that boosting your immune system, that you can truly fight against any sickness or disease. I knew about, 3 years ago, we lived in this house, had 1,000 times the amount of mold in it that any home could have. And I went to 5 different doctors, and they literally told me I had migraines. And I'm like, no, something else is wrong with me. Something is wrong with me. I need help. And they just kept saying over and over and over again, like, we don't know what's wrong with you. There's nothing going on. And I remember 13 years ago when I had all these migraines and I was so tired and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And the doctors kept saying, well, you're depressed or you're stressed. You need this depression medication. You have fibromyalgia. You need this depression medication. And you need God to help me with my muscle relaxer and painkillers. These are the only things that you can take. Well, I will tell you that for the last 4 years, I haven't taken a thing other than some Excedrin. And guess what? I ended up last year in the hospital because I took so much Excedrin, and I had 6 bleeding ulcers and lost 1/3 of my blood. And my hemoglobin went down to 8.9. And Friday, I just want you guys to know, I take the same products that I give to these children, and I've been taking them for the last 4 years. And I've been feeding children. We've actually gotten to a point where we're up to 2.8 million servings of nutrition to children in the last 2 years. It is one of the things that gets me up every single morning. But here's the thing. I've taken those products, and you would think that I would have lots of issues, right? My blood would have a lot of issues. You could probably tell it from lab results. I was told on Friday by a lab company that my blood looked to be the equivalent of an 18 to 25-year-old.
No way.
That my lungs, my kidneys, my heart, they were immaculate, and my immune system could fight against any sickness and disease.
The doctors told you that?
That's Streamlined Medical. So I had a conversation with them right before you called me.
Really?
And I had those lab tests done 7 months ago, and I hadn't even had a chance to talk to them about them. And then so I went through those lab results, and then you called me Friday afternoon. So guys, I don't know what you believe, but I mean, I know people come together at the right time. And I know where I was supposed to be, and I know where I am today. And I'm just so grateful that I have you here. So I'm gonna let you talk, and I'm gonna plug this in.
Okay. Well, honestly, thank you so much. And this is, like she said, I think this is a fantastic coming together, because I just came to the U.S. I was like, listen, there's got to be answers over here, and I knew there were people we could collaborate with, and it just all flowed together. So I'm really totally stoked right now, because it's fantastic. I mean, this is something we've been looking forward to for quite a long time. Some partnerships with organizations and individuals of like minds who are looking at it not just as a way to make money, but as a way to truly help people, especially those who cannot help themselves. And these are kids who can't even afford the transportation to come to the clinic to get the treatment. I mean, we're giving it to them for free, but somebody has to go to the villages to actually bring them over, and that doesn't happen all the time. So this is great. Thank you so much, Courtney.
Well, and here in our country, we think it's bad that we can't go to our favorite restaurant, or we can't go to our favorite, we can't go to the mall or whatever. And we fail to remember what's really going on in other countries. And guys, I do want to share with you one thing. And this is something that's been on my heart for since COVID has hit. There's expected to be an extra 250 million people die this year because of the lack of being able to get to those children and being able to get to those people and provide them with the resources that they need. So one of the things that I'm really committed to doing is we are growing our company 10x this year. And we're going to do that in the next 12 months. And we're not going to do it because we need more money. We're going to do it because we need to help more people. And I think if we come together as a community, as a family, and we start focusing and saying, well, I don't have enough to take care of myself. How in the world am I going to take care of someone else? It costs $2 a month to provide nutrition for a child. $2, okay, is the difference in their body healing and not. Now, what we're giving to Nigeria, that costs a little bit more, but it's still not much more. And so, there is a true fulfillment when you start focusing on how much you can give to people. And, now we're to a point where we make more, we actually give away more a month than we made 2 years ago. And wow. A month. And I'm not telling you that to brag. What I'm saying is that when you start focusing on giving, everything opens up for you, and you can help so many people, and you can change so many lives. And God has given you a gift, and you need to use that gift in order to help other people. And that's exactly what we're doing here at OTB Tax. Dr. David, I am so I got in my car. Now I was going to New Jersey anyway, but he just happened to be on the way. So I was going to fly to Jersey and hang out, and that was going to be a little bit easier. And then he said, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. And I'm like, I'm coming to see you. And I'm going in November to Nigeria to actually see the kids and see what we're doing, see the impact that we're having. So I want you guys to be involved and understand what's really going on here. And then before that, I'm going to Liberia, because in Liberia, we're working with the Last Well, and we're providing water it's a border-to-border initiative. They've been working on this for 11 and a half years, and they're going to end the water issue in Liberia for 5.2 million people as of December 31st.
Awesome.
And so I'm going to meet the president of Liberia.
Wow.
And Sam's supposed to be coming with us. And then we're going to go to Nigeria, and we're going to see these kids that we're feeding. And guys, I love freeing up money for you, but please understand, that's what we're doing here. That we're trying to help more people have more in their lives so they can then live more. And that first starts with, you've got to help people learn how to save. You got to help people learn how to free up money. And you can do that by having a home-based business. Like we talk about that all the time, that there's so many advantages to having a home-based business, but we help them save more, then have more, then live more. And then you can focus on the number one thing that will make you and provide you so much fulfillment, and that is giving more. And then I, in turn, it's almost selfish, I get to help you guys free up money and then I get to watch your life get better. And then I get to nourish more children, which makes me even happier. And then I get to take care of my children too, right? And I get to take care of our staff. And we get to free children. So we're freeing children from sex trafficking, which I'm sure in Nigeria, man, I can't imagine what's going on over there.
It's happening.
And it's happening everywhere, right in front of our face, which is sad. And so let's focus on what we can do today to make massive change. We can help Nigeria end the suffering of sickle cell disease. And we can help provide more nourishment for children. We can help free more children from sex trafficking. And it only takes a little bit of money. So if we all come together, we can make massive change. So I'm going to post as well the event link. So that is 100% going to fund the Nigeria project, the clinical trial, and it's a government trial.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. So I gotta ask you this before we go. Why is it that our government is not doing clinical trials on nutraceuticals? Because I know that's completely different. So in your government, there's not enough. There's no drug there. What is $100,000 to find any drug that's available for sickle cell disease?
Yeah. So the two recent drugs that came out from the States were each of them cost $100,000 to treat sickle cell disease, and of course it hasn't gotten there yet. But I doubt if it's going to do anything close to the results we're getting with simply by boosting the immune or strengthening the immune system. So what was the question again? Just the difference. So and I guess the thing is there's no other option, right? Yeah, this is the option that makes sense. The other drugs that are available that we're using, you've got to have a hematologist prescribe them because they can cause a lot more damage if it's prescribed wrongly. So if kids or parents just take it out arbitrarily, it can cause more damage. So you need something that is safe and is easy to administer, and that even if you do overdose, quote unquote, it's not going to cause much harm to the child. Right. And that's especially important for those kids, and I would say a good proportion of them live in remote areas and in villages who can't, like you said, go to the hospitals or have experts, hematologists or pediatricians treat them. So you've got to be able to ship things over to the villages, show their parents or the village healthcare workers what to do and how to give it, and just leave them to it and be sure that they're going to get improvements, and you won't have to worry about them getting bad side effects and getting worse from it. Because they can't get anywhere. I mean, they don't have transportation to get to a hospital fast enough if there were side effects. Right. So, and guys, it just starts there. We're doing the clinical trial, so it just starts there. The next step is actually ending it. So there's going to be a lot of money that's going to take. I figured it up already, and I know we can do it. It's $348 million a year is what we need. That's right. I mean, we can all come together and make a massive shift. And I used to think that was a crazy amount of money, but it's not. It's really not. And so, and I'm committed to doing this because I know that we're going to take this study and we're going to change the world with it. So, if you buy an event ticket, I'm going to post that online. It's $197. You're going to get an entire day of me teaching tax strategy and all of the leaders that are going to be speaking. I'm so grateful for them for speaking for free. This is a give back. And so that $197 will go 100% to fund this project, the clinical trial. And then the rest of, if you want to give, we'll put the link for the Brain and Body Foundation, so you can give directly there. And if you want to reach out to me, if you need more questions, if you need to get your questions answered, and if you're looking to give a lump sum, I want to get 19 business owners to give. I've already got one committed, so in the last couple of days, and I want to get 19 business owners to commit to $10,000 because we can truly, as business owners, come together and end the suffering of a disease. And then we can step forward and do more and more and more and more. So I thank you so much, Dr. David. Thank you so much, Courtney. This is really, really encouraging. I love it. I love it. And we're not social distancing. We're close. That's awesome. All right, guys, have an amazing day.